Good evening and welcome to Two-A-Day on your Packer Link Up. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, and you're watching the 10 o'clock edition. Well, the Wausau Daily Herald.com is reporting that the Packers want to relocate their outdoor practice field or their outdoor practices from Clark Hinkle Field, where they are currently held, to Ray Nitschke Field for their training camp. The plans would require relocation of a parking space and some okays and checks have to be made, but we will see how that progresses. The regular season, the outdoor practices will still be at Clark Hinkle Field. This is only for the practices that are outdoors during training camp. Some good news for the Packers on the offensive side of the ball. Greg Jennings returned to practice this week and looked good coming in and out of his cuts, ran smooth, looked fast, and did well. He's been cleared for play, and we will expect to see him on the field this week. So it's good news. With Scott Wells and Ryan Grant will still be out, but at least we've got one of Aaron Rodgers' weapons coming back, so that's good news for him. Our player spotlight tonight, Brady Poppinga. Poppinga may have the starting spot at the strong side linebacker sewed up as of this week. It's hard to say, and there's no official word from the coaches. But Winston Moss, after Tuesday's practice, said Brady's had his best camp and his best preseason to date. And he's played really well and done some very good things. He's as physical as ever, so it's all positive with Brady. So Poppinga playing well in competition, of course, with Brandon Chiller, who was playing in place of A.J. Hawk this week at the strong side, or at the weak side, linebacker position. So the kind of catch-22 for Brandon is he ends up a little bit like Jason Spitz on the offensive line. Very versatile, plays for him on the team. But the problem is when you're moving around from position to position, you don't get reps in your particular position that you play in. It makes it harder for you to crack into the starting lineup. You, of course, are then, all the coaches say how valuable you are and how versatile you are, but you end up losing out on a starting role because you're filling in for somebody else. That's part of what Brandon Chiller was brought in to do. The other thing was to compete with Brady Poppinga and make him better. Apparently, the Packers have achieved those two goals, and it looks to me like Brady will start and Brandon Chiller will be a backup and, of course, come in the 2-4-5 package and possibly be thrown in on some obvious passing down situations. But again, kudos to Brandon for going out and playing and showing his versatility on the weak side for A.J. Hawk, who's injured. But once again, it also makes it tough for him to go ahead and take over a starting role. So Brady Poppinga, of course, will deserve it if he gets it. This will be his third year as a starter. He's been into the starting lineup since the first time he was around. And last season, some were down on him last season. We got some things corrected with coverage over the tight ends and got him some help. And so he was better down the stretch in that regard. On the other hand, in the preseason, Brady Poppinga, and this is true this year too, was an animal with tackles for loss, running back tackles for loss. We saw him look like that against the 49ers. He was one of the few bright spots, and I don't think I even mentioned him, but he was one of the few bright spots. Let's hope he can carry that on into the regular season and go ahead and do well in pass coverage as well. He says a lot of the things. Last year it was about having to think about coverage, and this year that's not there. So defensive coordinator Bob Sanders said he's not surprised at how Poppinga responded to the addition of Chiller and that competition there. Brady's a competitor, Sanders said. That says a lot about his character. And the Packers, of course, love his style of play, which is very energetic, high level intensity, and he's a good hitter. He's a solid tackler, and he's always got high intensity. So according to Brady, people don't understand that in coverage there's a lot more going on. Going back to the coverage issue, what bothers me is more the recognition and being fast and diagnosing what's going on. When I can look at myself and see someone that's very fast and lined up with what's happening, that's very encouraging. Whereas a year ago, it was touch and go. At sometimes it was good and sometimes it was bad. So Poppinga with a lot more confidence this year, this season, and a lot more recognition of what offenses are trying to do gets him ready. I don't think he's slow. I think he can do it. I think this is going to be his breakout season. We're going to see him make some sacks this year. I think we're going to see him with tackles for loss this year that kind of disappeared during the preseason. Of course, that's all assuming A.J. Hawk comes back and is on the field for us, because with Brandon Chiller in at weak side, all heck will break loose for us and our Packer linebacking. In fact, the way Chiller looked, I'm not even sure we won't see someone besides him in that role. But if AJ's on the field, we've got a great, deep linebacking core, and look for good things out of them. So hats off to Brady Poppinga today for our player spotlight. Tomorrow, we will start looking ahead. Tomorrow's Thursday, and we'll start looking ahead to the next preseason game against the Denver Broncos. So keep an eye out for that. We'll keep up on some more players, some quotes and information and news from them from the locker room. So keep tuning in, and until tomorrow, go Pack.